Classroom Screen is a wonderful tool to use for students with disabilities or with any student who could benefit from supports and visuals as you work through your lesson. This is a tool that you'll have that you'll utilize on your smartboard or with your screen or projector at the front of your classroom. And it's something that is a good way to pace your lesson and keep students on track. And I'm going to show you how. Classroom Screen can be completely free. The only limitation with the free version is that you cannot save your screens. With the paid version, you can save and reuse your screens. So I'm going to start by creating a new screen. And it will create a screen and give me just a default background. But when I click on that, I can actually make some changes to this screen. So when I click here on my toolbar, oops, I'm going to go to background first, and I'm going to use this classroom screen for a club that I have after school, where we are learning about Book Creator. So I'm going to choose a book background, and then I'm going to X out of that. And I also love to put my goal on my classroom screen so that it's visible to all my students throughout the lesson. So the first thing I'm going to do is click text to add a text box, and I'm going to add my lesson goal. And you'll notice that I have some formatting choices here. I can make this bold. I can make it larger in terms of font. I can change the font. Okay, make it bold, make it large, and I can actually stretch that out a little bit and make that smaller. I can change my color. I can do some highlighting, but I'm going to drag that up in the corner. And then I'm going to show you some of the features of the Classroom Screen suite. Just another note, if I click back on this, I can always move it. I can click the trash can to delete it. There are several settings that I can use and change, some text settings and some theme settings. So explore those when you have a chance. To get to Classroom Screen, you just go to classroomscreen.com and then click Create a New Screen to start your first screen. The first thing that I added was my goal, which was a text box. And now I'm going to show you some of the features or widgets that are available. First is clock. So if I want an actual clock telling me the time, keeping track of my lesson, I can put that up there. My settings, I can add an alarm. I can make it a 24-hour clock. If I wanted to set an alarm, I could choose the sound that rings at the end of my alarm time. So that's an option. I also have a timer, which I love. And if I click and just drag that under my goal right there, I can change or add minutes and seconds to my timer. If I click settings, I can also change the timer sound. I can make it repeat. And I can also change the color theme there. When I press the play button, it starts my timer, and I can also pause it and stop it as well. The stoplight or traffic light is another great tool to use in Classroom Screen. So if you want your students to go, pause or slow down or stop, you can use this throughout the lesson to kind of pace and give them an indication of what's coming. If you hit settings here, you can change the type of traffic light. You can enable descriptions. And what that means is you can tell your students what the red light means, what the green light means, and what the yellow means. You can also enable sounds. So when you press each of those colors, it will make a clicking sound and change the color theme. So I'm going to click off that. And there's my descriptions. So I need to make that a little bit bigger. There you go. Um, Other things to add are sound level. So you can actually have a sound level. Notice it's getting very loud. You can adjust the sensitivity on that, but students can have a constant indicator of the noise level in the classroom if you use that one. We also have a timetable, which I love. I'm going to move my stoplight over, move all of my things. The timetable is cool because what it does is it allows you to pace the lesson. So You can create a checklist of things that you're going to be doing during your time together. So if I wanted to make a checklist of show comic icons, then I add an activity, add your book, and now that will show, and I can actually make that larger, your students what is happening throughout the lesson. And once you've completed that, you can check it off as you pace um, through the lesson. So that is something to experiment with. The timetable. We also have a way to add images. I love the randomizer, and what I've done is I've actually created a randomizer of movement breaks. So I am able to create a list because I have a paid classroom screen account, but I have a movement breaks list. And what that does is this randomizer here, I can prompt my students to take a movement break. And for this one, we're going to do 10 squats. You could make this anything. You could make the student name so that you can see the students and have a name selector, but you're able to add sounds and you can add your list here of all of the things that you want to add to your randomizer. So just some things to experiment with. There are also polls that you can put in place. And I love doing this. I put this up on my smart board. And when my students leave the room, what did you think of today's lesson? Students can just tap on um, the emoji face that goes with it. So I get some instant feedback. And then I get a graph of what the outcome was of my students' feedback for that day. So here's the question type, multiple choice, smileys, true or false, some settings here. And you could also, the remote voting and all of these options are not free choices, but there are very limited choices for the poll if you do use the free version of Classroom Screen. So I have a lot going on here. I'm going to actually click my trash can to get rid of that. You can also use work symbols. So if you want your students to work in silence, you can click silence, the whisper, ask a neighbor, or work together. So they're just very visual prompts to have up on your at the front of your classroom. And then there are even more widgets that Classroom Screen has developed over the past year or so. So there are a calendar, there are some dice. If you are a person, let's go here. There are visual timers. There are ways to hyperlink documents. You can also embed things into your classroom screen. I love putting my videos. So if I'm going to use a video for my lesson, I put it right on my classroom screen, and I'll show you how to do that. So video, you can put a YouTube link right in there. And now there's a scoreboard. See, an event countdown, which is kind of cool. Let's move that out of the way so we can actually see. Oh, there's my video. So with the video, you just copy and paste your YouTube URL and it goes right in there. Let's see. Here's my events. You can always click the corner and make it larger. So create a countdown to an event if you're looking forward to the end of the school year or a cool event that is going on in your school. You can have your countdown there. So there are just so many widgets to use. There's a group maker, a way to put up a QR code, a stopwatch, and some stickers as well. Here's the visual timer. Experiment with these, have fun. There are just so many options to play around with. Again, you could use a few of these, you could use multiple or just keep the same ones going so your students become familiar with them. You could do maximum screen too, and then minimize your screen. But again, to go home, you just click the home button and it leaves your screen. If you do not have the paid version, it will not save your screen. But now I can go back to this if I need to. And I can also duplicate or rename my screen. So if this was going to be my book club, my book club screen, I could name that and always go back to that, and it would save that screen. So these are just a few ways to help with your students and supporting them during your lessons with some very visual, some pacing tools. Classroomscreen.com, a wonderful tool. Try it out.